Wonderful. You see, our song says you are welcome here. Yes, please come and come again. Come again. Every week is something different, but you'll hear about that in a bit. So, our vision here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala is that we are a model center for spiritual living as evidenced by the transformational impact we have on this spiritual community, everybody sitting here, and as it ripples out, right, to all the lives that you touch and to our community. And it's a model center for spiritual living, which kind of implies that we are located all over the world, never in the U.S., but we happen to be one of them. And so our mission here is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lies within and all around us, so we can live our best lives. Anybody else up for that? Great, right? So that life gets better, and it does happen. It does happen. People start coming here and they start letting go of stuff and drama and pain, and they start to heal and they start to evolve. It happens. We've joked that we should get folks on camera the first time they come in here and let's do a video again in 6 months and let them talk about the things that have changed and what's happening in their lives. It's a beautiful thing to witness. And of course, I've experienced that myself. That's why I'm here. So what is important to us? Your values. I don't know how much y'all realize how important our values are and how they drive everything we do, individually and collectively. So we like to speak them out loud so that you can know what those values are, especially for you newcomers to say, yeah, I'm on board with that. Or no, this is really not my place. And then there's lots of other spiritual centers and churches you could go to, right? Yeah, because everybody's here because they're choosing to be here, not because they have to be. So the number one thing, and you can say them along with me if you'd like, spiritual growth and practice, love, appreciation, community, freedom, creativity, health and wholeness, generosity, and financial well-being. Awesome. I did that really well. Thank you. And is that it for me? I think so. Great. Here you go, David. I'll hand it off to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David Grigas, and I will be leading you into our mindful moment of meditation. If you wanted to bring the lights down, David's going to have a little music going in the background, and it's time for us to just get centered and go within and let the chair support you. Everyone taking a deep breath and just let it out with a big ah. That's right. Whatever it took to get here today, whatever brought you to this moment, just be in this ever present now. I have a few readings to share today. Take another deep breath in and let it out. If it feels comfortable, you can close your eyes. Perhaps put your hand on your heart. We're going to enter into our mindful time. This weekend is Memorial Day. We're going to be honoring those that fought for our rights, our ancestors, and all those that came before us. I pray and bless my loved ones in the world. Today, I honor the legacy, courage, and memory of those who have given their lives in service. I prayerfully express my gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for their selfless dedication. Breathe in. I also remember my loved ones who have transitioned and embraced them in the radiant light of love. I wonder how they enrich my life. And I feel grateful as I remember their ways, their presence. In memory of all who I honor today, I commit to being a presence of peace in all situations. And I hold a vision of a world at peace with the understanding that we are all part of the human family and one with God, as you understand that word. I forgive easily and seek harmony by extending loving kindness and compassion to all. And as the scripture reads, no one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life over one's friends. Can we just be in that space and breathe it in? Let it go. We're going to take it further with an invitation by Oriah Mountain Dreamer, a Native American elder. Breathe it in and let it go. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for. And if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing, it doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will rise, risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, and for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what plans are squaring to me. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow. If you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from the fear and for I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, fade it, or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, to remember the limitations of being free. Deep breath in. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. I want to know if you can be faithful and therefore be trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it is not pretty every day. If you can source your life from God's presence. Breathe. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours or mine, and still stand on the edge of a lake and shelter the silver of the moon. Yes. Yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if we can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, do what needs to be done for the children. It doesn't interest me who you are, how you came to be. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what you've studied. I I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know you can be alone with yourself. And if you truly like the company you keep, then you won't do this. Just prove it. Yeah. It's for the my voice. Feel the spirit.
Thank you, David. That was so beautiful. Just incredible. My friend who I've connected with, Loretta Romano, brought that back to me. It was something that I shared with her over 20 years ago. So never underestimate the seeds that we plant and how they come back to us. So we're in that resonance of that source of spirit. And we're going to share a song with you that speaks of that. And now that they've kind of taken us into that mellow meditation, I'm going to breathe back up. Hello. So this is a song some of my friends know and I love. And there's parts of it where you get to take part and that everything feels comfortable for you. So we come together to behold the power of love, the power of life. We come together to behold. We are divine. And it has a part you can just lift up your hands if that feels comfortable to you. Lift up your hands and then touch your heart. Lift up your heart. Lift up your vision. Lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory. Whirl in the grace. See, inner healer is in this place. Inner healer is in this place. Haley, you want to help me with this? Because I can't do the hand motions while I'm doing that. All right. Yeah. Haley and Matthew are going to be gracing us with their song. So this is good warm up. All right. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of life. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up your hand, lift up your heart, lift up your vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, will in the grace. Inner healer is in this place. Inner healer is in this place. Now we know it. We come together to behold the power of love, the power of life. We come together to behold. We are divine. Lift up your hands, lift up your heart, lift up your vision, lift it to the stars. Dance in the glory, will in the grace. Inner healer is in this place. Inner healer is in this place. Inner healer is in this place. Yeah! Woo! Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Christina. Yes! Woo!
So, here we are. How's that going for you so far? So Galen's going to talk to us about psychedelic dreams and rituals, which is the current book speaking about for and who is this woman? What's she all about? Read here. Galen is a licensed mental health counselor and an addiction professional with 30 years of experience working therapeutically with people in treatment centers and private practice. She is also a trained psychedelic therapist and in 2021 completed the MDMA therapy training program through the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, MAPS. Galen has authored several books, including her newest publication, Psychedelic Streams and Rituals, a guidebook for explorers, therapists, and facilitators. And throughout the year, Galen speaks on the fourth Sunday here and presents from her book a comprehensive guide for anyone interested in exploring psychedelic medicine experiences, dream work, and rituals. She is also committed to promoting psychedelic education, harm reduction through her writing and training. You can find more about her work at www.galen.net. Galen and I work together at the Center for Spiritual Living here, where we facilitate individual and group psychedelic medicine sessions, workshops, trainings, and retreats using ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. Please note that we will not be available for the entire month of June as we are traveling to the Netherlands for the International Conference on Psychedelic Research, where we will be presenting on a workshop in Amsterdam. Lastly, I want to mention that Galen is not just a colleague, but also my wife and my best friend. Lucky me. Please join in and welcome her.
Yay! All right. Good morning. It's so good to be here with you. As I have been doing, the book is dedicated to Maria Sabina. Maria was instrumental in being the first person to introduce part of it. And this is a picture of Maria, and I light a candle for her. She always lit candles when she was doing her ceremonies, her mushroom ceremonies. So we honor Maria Sabina and the legacy that she has left us, including ritual and ceremony as a part of the mushroom ceremony. Welcome to the community of travelers. If this is your first time here, we really appreciate you taking this step out and coming into a new spiritual community. And what I would like you to do, just maybe we tend to sit with the people we know. If you would be so bold and I ask you to step out of your comfort zone just a little bit today, I want you to meet one person here today that you don't know and just introduce yourself to them, all right? One person you don't know and introduce yourself to them and just welcome each other to this time together. Yay! Nice. Yes. Yeah. All right. I love the energy in the room. Did everybody meet somebody new? Yes. Wasn't that lovely? Yes. So it helps us to kind of step out, and that actually is an example of regeneration, right? Because we regenerate ourselves when we open our circle and allow new people to come in, right? The Dead Sea is dead because it has no inlet and no outlet. And so when we want to regenerate ourselves, we have to have an inlet and an outlet for fresh energy, for fresh ideas, for new people to enter our lives. So give yourself a hand today because you already started the regeneration process. Yes. All right. This is regeneration of mind, body, and spirit, and rebirthing yourself. Alore has done a magnificent job on some of these graphics. If you see these magnificent graphics, Alore is credited with that. She has done an amazing job, and you'll see this at the Center for Spiritual Living, and she creates for both the center and for some of the work that I'm doing. So thank you. Entering non-ordinary states of consciousness. Some people may think, oh, this psychedelic thing is really new and it's fresh and it's happening. And, a lot of people are kind of jumping on board with it and saying, let's do this. Let's, discover new ways that we can open our minds and do some of our healing work. Yes, I started this journey over 30 years ago. I wanted to bring that in because non-ordinary states of consciousness is not new, right? Non-ordinary states of consciousness is actually thousands of years old, and you can enter into those in a variety of ways. Now, when I was working on my master's thesis, and this is actually my master's thesis, Ritual, Today's Experience Transformation, I did not have the luxury of being able to have the psychedelic medicine. And so I wrote about entering non-ordinary states of consciousness with what I could use, and that is ritual ceremony. And so 30 years ago, this is the path that I started on. When it came back around, when I was doing my MAPS training, particularly in that MAPS training, and they were emphasizing ritual, ceremony, non-ordinary states of consciousness, I pulled my master's thesis back out, and I was like, I think I was a bit ahead of my time. Or Spirit was preparing me for something that was going to come. And I was fortunate enough to live long enough to allow for this to come to fruition in a new way. So we are looking at that as a way to enter the non-ordinary state through the triune pathway. Now, those of you who've read the book and those of you who have not, you'll know the very first 50 pages are a guidebook, right? It actually takes you. I'm your guide. I'm there talking with you as you're working through the book. And it really literally takes you through how do I enter successfully into these non-ordinary states? And what is there for me to learn? What is there for me to discover through psychedelic streams and rituals? You don't have to use the medicine kit. I really want you to understand this. Medicine is one path. It's not the only path. We enter these non-ordinary states through dreams and ritual as well. So I'm going to share that with you today and really put maybe a little exclamation point on that. There's many ways to enter into non-ordinary states of consciousness. When we were singing, we were entering into that non-ordinary state. When we were meditating, we were entering into that non-ordinary state of consciousness and collectively joining in that together. So I'm also an ordained unity minister. I went to seminary for 5 years. I graduated in 2000 as an ordained unity minister. So Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were part of my ground in metaphysics and understanding metaphysics. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of Charles Fillmore and Ernest Holmes today. Charles Fillmore talked a lot about regeneration. Regeneration is a change in which abundant spiritual life, even eternal life, hear this, is incorporated into the body. The transformation takes place by bringing all the forces of the mind and body to support Christ's idea. And here's the idea, the unification of spirit, soul, and body in spiritual oneness. Right? Now, some of these slides, if you want to take pictures of them, please do. You feel free to do that. You might want to capture them. I'm not sure if we're going to capture the recording today, so if you want to capture them, please do. Fillmore then goes on to say, well, how does this work? How does this actually work? How do you do it? And he says regeneration begins its work in the conscious mind and completes it in the subconscious, which means on a conscious level, we have to agree to this, right? It's not just going to happen. Consciously, we have to say, I'm ready. I want to regenerate my mind, body, spirit. I'm willing. Remember, I've got a long history and background in also working in drug and alcohol rehab. And in the AA book, it talks about what you really need is a little willingness. Willingness. That's conscious. All right? So the first step is cleansing, in which all error thoughts are renounced. Now, a lot of times we might think of negative thinking, but Fillmore is using a different word, and I like it, right? Because it's not just I'm thinking negative, it's an error thought. I'm making errors in my thinking, which also says errors can be corrected, all right? So turn to someone on your right or your left and say, errors can be corrected. Yes, that's why pencils have erasers, right? Because errors can be corrected. And this includes, and they can be renounced, right? That's an interesting word, right? We don't use that. I renounce this, right? It's kind of a powerful word in a way, right? Renounce it. Just remove it, dismiss it. It is not the thought. The error thought is not the one you want to dwell on. This includes forgiveness. I'm pausing on forgiveness because this plays a big role. It's forgiving ourselves, it's forgiving others, it's forgiving the sin. Now, he uses sin, but remember, in metaphysics, the way we're using sin is an archery term, and it literally means missing the mark, right? And we are all going to miss the mark, all right? It's not possible that we're going to hit the bullseye every time because we're human, and it's just not going to happen. So sin is just missing the mark. And so we need to do a clearing of the whole consciousness after the way has been prepared. Then the second step takes place, and this is an outpouring of the Holy Spirit. So I want to do a little bit of a kind of visual on this, and David's willing to help me. So he's going to come up here. And there was a person who, was really ready for enlightenment, right? So he goes to the he goes to the Zen master, and so the Zen master says, okay, we'll have tea, right? And so the Zen master says, why are you here? Okay. And so the Zen master starts to pour him the tea. It's water. So, what do you think about that? And the Zen master said, you have to empty yourself before enlightenment. See it? You have to. If we are so full of ourselves, we can go gracious forward. You can pour back in. There you go. Yes. So we have to empty ourselves, right? And that is exactly what Fillmore is talking about here. We have to clear the whole consciousness. After that, we can be filled with the Holy Spirit. So there's a process in it. And we honor this process when we're doing our pre-sessions and our post-integration. All right, so here's the classic iceberg, conscious mind on the top, unconscious, very big underneath, right? So we consciously decide we want to make this leap, and we're going to go into the unconscious realm. And we're going to look at some of the patterns, right? And you'll see and Stan Groff and Ernest Holmes talk about patterns, right? At the very best, and the reason I feel like I'm a good therapist is I've been doing it for 30 years, and I'm listening for the pattern, right? And I can hear the pattern when it emerges, and I can hear it as it emerges generationally, right? Because it's not just, we kind of invented this pattern, Many times we inherited this pattern, and now the pattern has become ingrained, okay? So I'm going to do a with it, because if I have you do these things, see it visually, move your body in some way, you'll remember. So I want you to cross your arms across your chest the way you normally do. That feels comfortable. All right? That feels good, right? Then crossing your arms like this and doing it for quite a long time, and your body kind of automatically knows this position. Now, I want you to consciously Fold your arms across your chest in a different way. Consciously fold your arms. If somebody was dysregulating in the family and they weren't happy, we had to just make sure that we were kind of walking on eggshells because we didn't want to drama. Car, change the oil, make sure it's functioning well. But you're traveling in this vehicle. death as a transition into different states of existence. Stand continues. As a result, they tend to see death as a transition into a different state of existence, an awe-inspiring adventure in consciousness rather than a final defeat and annihilation. People who are involved in deep self-exploration have the opportunity to gradually come to terms with the many difficult aspects of their unconscious that we otherwise have to deal with in the final period of life. And so that's powerful, right? That's a wow. Because what happens if you don't deal with it at some point, it kind of does accumulate. And I work with a lot of people who are in that final, season of their life. And they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't worked on so much stuff. So they have all this existential angst, existential anxiety because they have not worked on it. And now they're coming to the end and they're like, oh my gosh, I really need to do some work. All right, so I'm going to share a personal story in regards to this, and I hope it's helpful. Some of you may or may not know, I was previously married, and my husband and I did ministry together. His name was David. I love David. What can I say? David Williamson. And David Williamson and I did ministry together. We worked together. We wrote books together. We did pretty much our whole life was this togetherness. And so we were married for 14 years. We were doing ministry at Unity of Hollywood in Hollywood, Florida. David went home to run an errand. He was going to come right back to help lead the prayer group that night, and he didn't come back. We had a nice lunch together before he left, I was kind of like, why do you have to go home to run this errand now? And he was like, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And I said, okay. He left, and at the time we had the house up for sale where we were living in Miami, and the realtor called me and said somebody's asleep at the dining room table. And I said, there's nobody sleeping. Go in. So he went in, and David said, all this. Just boom, left. And he was not sick. He wasn't, ill in any way, shape, or form. And that's why life is like this sometimes. We don't know when that time is going to be, where we're going to leave this lifetime. It can happen that quickly. So, of course, we were devastated as a spiritual community. As Loretta was there, David was there, all part of the spiritual community, just holding space with each other for this very unexpected transition that happened. And I was just kind of in shock. I can't describe it any other way because I didn't get to say, right? That was the big loss for me. And that moment was no goodbyes, no holding the hand. So everybody came to the house. We were all staying there together. And one person stayed overnight with me that night. And I went to sleep. I couldn't really sleep. I was tossing and turning the whole day's event. Him dying right there in the house, feeling his, that he had passed away right there. And I finally kind of dozed off early in the morning. I slept for a couple hours. And then I heard his voice. And he said, Jane, wake up. And I woke up and I was like, he's here. And he goes, get up. Go look out the window. And I got up and I looked out the window. And as I looked out the window, the sun was just rising over the horizon. And he said to me these words that came from our favorite poem that we love. It is not death, but dawn. It is not death, but dawn. And I want to share that poem with you now. The Traveler by James Philip Hillman. He has put on invisibility, dear Lord, I cannot see. But this I know, although the road ascends and passes from my sight, that there will be no night, that you will take him gently by the hand and lead him on along the road of life that never ends. And he will find it is not death, but dawn. I do not doubt that you are there as here, and you will hold him dear. Our life did not begin with earth. It is not of the earth. And this that we call death is no more than the opening and closing of a door. And in your house, how many rooms must be beyond this one where we rest momently? Dear Lord, I thank you for the faith that frees, the love that knows it cannot lose its own, the love looking through the shadows see that you and he and I are ever one. He came to give me that lesson. So clear. It is not that, but that. So this happened in the scriptures as well. If you look at the story of Jesus and Nicodemus, Jesus was a rebel. Nicodemus was of the Jewish ruling council. Nicodemus couldn't even publicly meet with Jesus. He met with him in secret. He came to Jesus and he said, "How can I be healed?" And Jesus said, "You must be born again." Right? And Nicodemus is thinking of himself as a body, right? He goes, "I don't get it. How do I get back in my mother's womb? I don't understand this. How does this happen?" You know? And Jesus is saying, no, that's not it. You're not born of the physical, you're born of the spirit. You are new birth in spirit. Allow the spirit to inform your life. Allow the spirit to inform your life. Now, this is another personal story. And again, I'm talking about non-ordinary states of consciousness that are not induced by anything other than being in this grounding of spirit. Okay? So after David passed, it was really hard for me to kind of deal with the grief and deal with the grief in the congregation and my own grief and how do I handle all of that. And we had been working together for so many years together, our hearts like beat in rhythm to one another, right? You're used to sleeping next to and waking up next to and being next to someone. All of a sudden your hearts are kind of like in sync in a certain way. And after David passed, my heart was out of sync. My heart was out of rhythm. And I could feel it. It was like that boom, 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 like that kind of irregular heartbeat. So I was like, okay, what is this about? I'm not sure, but it was a few weeks after he passed. And I was sleeping. I was still in the same house. And all of a sudden, I felt this presence of these light beings that were all around my bed. Yes. And they actually, I cannot believe I found this picture because they actually kind of look like it. And so all the light beings around my bed. And they said, we need to work on you. We need to work on you. Okay. And I was like, all right. So they were just like, you just relax and we're going to do some work. And so felt like I went into a really, really deep. And as soon as they were done, they literally sat me up in the bed and there was a clock right in front of me. And the clock said 3:33. I was born at 3:33 a.m. And they said to me, you are reborn. You are reborn. Now that's the birth. See? So turn it on one on your right or your left. You say to them, you are reborn. You are reborn. So how do we tap into this? How do we tap into this? We tap into this. Remember, part of this is shifting the way that we see ourselves. And one of the clear messages that my guidance teachers gave to me, and I thought this was so powerful, this is definitely a part of the book. All of us are immortal. All of us are immortal. All of us are immortal. This is the way the creative life and our process works for our entire life. And beyond this lifetime, I see it actually being born again and again. So many people come to me and I'm working with them, and it's like they're coming into a new life, right? Their old life is passing away. And there's some grief and loss with that too, by the way. And the new life is beginning to emerge, right? And we don't know quite what it's going to be like yet. I mean, we're working with the non-ordinary states of dreams and rituals and psychedelics to assist in that rebirth. And literally, all of you that work with medicine know it's like a birth. And at the very best, I am the spiritual midwife holding the space while that new life begins to emerge. So when I leave this body, I trust there's further life expression, development, and work to do. I believe life is abundant and limitless. All of us are immortal. Turn to someone on your right or your left and say, all of us are immortals. All of us. Some of us just recognize it now. And that's the case. Do you recognize it? Do you see it? We are immortal beings living in eternal life right now. So the question for me is not where will I spend eternity, but am I living fully in the eternal now? Am I living fully in the eternal now? Ernest Holmes, The Renewing of the Mind. The mind is a creative factor within us. And when the mind takes its pattern after spirit, it automatically renews the outer person after true holiness or wholeness. This is what we're teaching on Cindy's giving us this message and this teaching every month. We're immersing ourselves in poems and understanding. Whatever the body holds firmly in belief forms a new pattern of thought within its creative role. As whatever thought is held in mind tends to take an outward form in new creation. This is the secret, the whole secret of the creative law of mind. And Jesus said, do not be conformed to the world, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. Isn't that a great picture? I have to say, for me, and this is chosen. It's not like, sometimes our spiritual guides and teachers choose us. Jesus comes to me often. Jesus is my spiritual guide and teacher. It was really interesting. I was with a medical doctor who does ketamine therapy, and she just went through a whole shamanic training. And she said, when the shamans really get to a difficult part and there's somebody who's just not kind of, they're blocked and not getting through things, she says, do you know who they call upon? Jesus. And she was like, wow, how is that? That even in the shamanic tradition, they're calling upon this higher power, this power greater than ourselves. The kingdom of heaven is within us. And that's the knowing, that's the inner knowing that helps us to heal us, to guide us, to direct us. Aldous Huxley said that the fear of the experience of dying was really a function of the ego that saw that it was separate from something larger than itself and had no existence beyond the limited borders of the ego self. The ego, somehow sensing itself as separate, became fearful. The psychedelic journey had the potential of opening one to the transcendent self. So do dreams, so do rituals. They all have that. With this potential opening to the feeling of transcendence, there would no longer exist the fear and feeling of being separate and I'll tell you, that is the feeling that many people carry with them. They feel separate and they feel alone. So this is the healing for that. Of course, Huxley wrote The Doors of Perception, and he said the urge to transcend self-conscious selfhood. And think about that. If we're too self-conscious, we trip ourselves up, right? So we want to transcend that self-conscious selfhood. That is the principal appetite of the soul. Michael Pollan wrote, during non-ordinary states, there's a lifting of the veil to the possibility of new planes of awareness and a reassurance that there may be something greater than the ego self. One of the people that I had the pleasure of knowing in her lifetime was Barbara Marx Hubbard. And this is not just a journey that we're taking for ourselves alone. We're also taking this journey for humanity. We're also taking this journey for the planet. And she was a futurist. And she asked this really good question. What is my gift to the shift in humanity? What is my gift to the shift in humanity? And in the book that I introduced her for Golden Age, Spiritual Wisdom for Birthing Our Lives, she said, we are moving toward regeneration. The time for regeneration on the planet is now. Regeneration begins to occur when our genius is activated through creativity. We are turned on. I believe that the purpose and regeneration, that life purpose and regeneration are connected. If we have no desire for further creativity, degeneration occurs. Think about that. If we're no longer creative, if we're no longer creatively engaged in life and love and relationships and living, then we begin to go the other direction. But regeneration occurs spontaneously. Ultimately, I believe we will learn to die by choice and to live by choice. We live as long as we have a passion to create. Have a passion to create. All right, turn to someone on your right and your left and say, have a passion to create. Okay, now I want to talk about, just in the last 2 minutes, I want to talk about brain connectivity, right? This is regeneration. This first picture is a picture taken with an MRI of a brain and its connectivity on the left when we're not using a psychedelic substance. When we are using a psychedelic substance, this is the global connectivity that happens with the brain. The combination of brain imaging and use of psychedelic compounds which alter consciousness in such a reliable and profound way is an incredible microscope with which to study the mechanisms underlying changing states of consciousness and the working of the mind, by Amanda Feldman with the Beckley Foundation. Amanda has put millions of her dollars into the Beckley Foundation to do this kind of research so that we would have this kind of information. The brain on DMT, researchers gave 20 healthy subjects potent intravenous doses of a psychedelic DMT and observed their brains with both functional MRI, and they witnessed the brain business-like hierarchical organization collapse, right? When we talk about getting out of default mode, when we talk about getting beyond that threshold of the ego, this is the collapse we're talking about, all right? They witnessed the brain's business-like hierarchical organization collapse, replaced with a state of global hyper-connectivity. Global hyper-connectivity. Wow. I like global hyper-connectivity. You don't want to stay there forever, right? But to experience it does what? Expand, right? The neural network, the neuroplasticity. Brain entropy defined as the number of neural states a given brain can access skyrocket. It's commonly said that our perception of reality is constructed by the brain. DMT and psychedelics in general make this abundantly clear. So, what have you learned, right? What have you learned and what is your action step? Because you have to take this information, at least one piece of it that's really important to you. What have you learned and what is the action step that you're going to now take this new awareness into your day-to-day life? So I want you to just turn to someone on your right or your left and share with them. This is what I learned today and this is my action step. This is what I've learned, and this is my action. Maybe it was just one little tiny piece of information. Maybe it was something that you didn't know that you now know. All right, we have just like 2 minutes. Would someone
two.
like to share what they have? I want to open it up for sharing. Would someone like to share kind of what they learned and how they're going to take that action step? David has a microphone, so you can have others hear you. Does anybody want to share what you've learned? All right.
I was really blown away by the brain connectivity part. That just, for me, knowing that I can enter into a non-organic state of consciousness and as a result of it, be able to be more connected globally, not I mean, be more connected to my higher self, to the spirit, but also globally to the global consciousness. That's just mind-blowing to me. And because, you know, the only thing I've ever done is shrooms, 20 years ago, I just wanted to do it as, oh, how does this feel? Does it feel cool? Whatever. Now, you know, I want this to be a spiritual journey and also learning that it can be a rebirth. So the first thing I'm going to do is start reading the book because I own it. It's sitting on my bookshelf, but I actually haven't started reading it yet. So I know now that I need to do that first, read that introductory part you're talking about. That's definitely the first action.
All right. Thank you.
So they've done the same thing with Tibetan monks and Zen monks. Get them to get into their space, and they get them inside the MRI. And the same thing can happen too. I don't know if it's pronounced as that, but they've done the same experiment. That connectivity. You don't have to do it like that. You can get there. You got to really be disciplined to do it.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share what they? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm David. I just first want to say thank you for like opening up the store and like walking through. And I like will apologize. I get emotional. I apologize, but so my father passed away 10 years ago. I've been walking this like spiritual path since. You know, if I hadn't had that experience and what like brought me along this path, but my dad passed away on my birthday. And so today, you know, when he passed away on my birthday, like I definitely felt like there was a reason, and I had this like higher understanding that like there was a reason what that is. And you know, everyone around me, like my mom, found out before I found out. And, like she was planning on telling the whole people, like, okay, tell her she passed away. But I did it with a reason. And, you know, like it's been hard to walk through that of like, you know, everyone around me was like associating those two like negatively. And it gave me like my final reason. And it was for me. Like I am like this is such a different person, and I'm so proud of myself, and I just know that like that was a gift from my dad.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for me. Anybody else?
To be here.
It's been so many years. I have been having a little trouble making time, sitting down, and clearing my head enough to meditate. And that's the way of getting into empty. So I made a commitment today. Thank you for your explanation of this, that I will, when I get back home to South Florida, which is crazy, that I will make time in all of the laziness to sit down quietly, do some deep breathing, and then to focus on my breathing. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes. Thank you, Loretta. Awesome. All right. Now, the fourth Sunday of next month, as David said, we are going to be in the Netherlands for the whole month of June. So hold us in your prayers as we're traveling, as we're there studying and learning and growing ourselves. We'll bring all of that back here to the center to share with you. And we're going to have a special speaker in June, Sherry Cunningham. She's a dear friend. Cindy, and she's going to be speaking, and she's a ministerial student from CSL in St. Augustine. So be here, and she's going to continue. She's working on the book. She's reading the book, and so she's going to keep it going. So we will be on the book, and she will be sharing it. July, I'm going to be speaking on dreams and revelations. What do they mean? It's going to be amazing. Cindy's going to sing. She already has her dream song all queued up, so it will be wonderful. August, metaphysics and mysticism. September, mystical factors, receiving your healing messages. October, transpersonal dimension, ego, death, and beyond. November, healing power of a loving group, which we have right here. And December, rituals and recovery, endings and new beginnings. So it's a great year ahead. Each month we'll have something special. I am doing the inner field workshop here on Saturday, July 6th. With you must register before I go to the Netherlands. So if you're interested, please register now. This is a really affordable, low-cost way to kind of introduce you to that psychedelic state in the journey. There are flyers on the table over there. Please feel free to take them. It has all detailed information on it. We're starting a new CAP group starting in July, which is a 4-week intensive, 3 hours a night, using the medicine and doing the therapy together. David and I facilitate that. Friday, July 19th. I know many of you have been asking. John is going to be coming back. We are going to do breath work paired with ketamine-assisted psychotherapy. It's a great experience. Many of you have had that. There is counseling that is available. So all of you know that we do have we lovingly have rented the space here at the facility during the week. So we have offices right here on the campus and do all of our work right here. I'm super grateful for that. And following this at 1 p.m., it is warm outside, so we are going to circle up in here. Haley and David are going to be facilitating the psychedelic integration circle, a safe place to share. And one last note, super good news. Psychedelic Streams and Rituals is a #1 new release in spirituality of dreams on Audible on Amazon. So, woo! Wow. I am honored, blessed, thrilled. We've done this as a community together. I'm super grateful that I've had this community to be a part of, so that I feel that love and support, sustain the creativity. We're in the flow here. And so this is all a part of it. If you would be so kind to write a book review and put it on Amazon, that helps enormously, much more. A lot of people read those reviews, so please do that. I want to thank you for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yay! And I will turn it back over to Cindy. Oh, music. All right. Where'd they go? There they are. All right. Awesome. Do you want me to introduce them, or you want to introduce them? Okay. So, all right. So Matthew and Haley, this is a wonderful opportunity in this spiritual community to share some of their original music. It takes a lot of courage, more than you think, to get up here and to share, to kind of open your soul, open your spirit to sharing of your music, of your talent. And I really honor and respect Matthew and Haley. While they're getting set up, I can't tell the whole story, but Matthew ended up coming to our house one day, and he was asking us if we wanted to have solar panels installed in our home. and he, David was listening. I was counseling. David heard the story, but he said, no, not at this time. But Matthew left, the skies opened up. He was completely drenched by the rain. Came back to the house and said, look, can I just come in for a little bit while this rainstorm passes? David goes, of course, come on in. He gave him a pair of dry socks, fed him a chicken dinner. They got to know each other. Then I walked out of my counseling office, because I was doing the counseling at home at that time. And Matthew and I started talking. And at that time, it was exactly 2 years ago, because I was on the way to the Netherlands. And the first time I was going to the International Conference on Psychedelic Research, and I told that to Matthew. His eyes just went big. He goes, "What?" And that is how we became fast friends. He said, "You have to meet Haley." Haley is really interested in doing some of this similar work that you're doing. And at that time, Haley was in ministerial school, and we became friends. And the rest is like a beautiful story that's still unfolding because I've had the opportunity to deeply get to know them both. I facilitated at the wedding ceremony when they were married. I got to pray with them while they brought their son into the world, and it's just been a wonderful ride. And I'm super excited that you're both here today and sharing me. Thank you.
So I don't think. So can you guys hear me right here? So I just want to mention that so a year ago we went to Grigas, and they have a retreat coming on the 31st. If anyone just in the spur of the moment wanting to go to North Carolina and listen to their voice, it's been only a year. Talk to me. It's okay. I don't know how to make it higher. All right, here. Okay. And it's funny that Galen was talking about just this. Our song is gonna, I think, pair well. So we'll get to it. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let it go. Let it all pass. All this too shall pass. It'll pass. Notice the distance. Oh, notice the space. There's a space. There is a distance. There is a space. The space. So let it all go. Let it go. Let it go. And let life flow. Flow. Let it all pass. All these too shall pass. Notice the distance. Ooh, notice the space. The space. There is a distance. The distance. Ooh, there is a space. The space. So let it all go. Let it go.
lives through you. God yearns for you, He yearns for you. God lives through you, lives through you. God yearns for you, she yearns for you. God lives through you, through you. God yearns for you, God lives for you. To let it all go, let it go. Let God go. Let it all go. Let God go. Let it all go. Let God go. Let God go.
Thank you.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. What a beautiful service we've had this morning. Did y'all enjoy this today? Yeah, we have been in the presence of the divine. Thank you all for being here. And I'm just affirming that everybody got some really beautiful takeaway that's going to help them throughout the rest of this week. And so this is our opportunity to share, right? As we give, we give back, right? We keep that in that reciprocal action, and that keeps the giving in motion. So this is the time during our service where we share our gifts and tithes, and that is what helps the center keep going. We've got light bills and air conditioning to fix and renovations to be done, and so we just really appreciate everything that everyone gives to the center, whether it is of your time, talent, or treasure. But I'm going to ask you now to think about giving some of your financial treasure. Right? It becomes like seed. You know, what you put out there comes back to you. And the Bible says it's pressed down, multiplied. So, you know, if you want friendship, you give friendship. If you want money, can anyone use a little bit more financial abundance in their lives? So we give money. And so give somewhere. And I hope that this is the place where you like to give, the place where you're spiritually fed. And I'm going to invite the newcomers in to share. So we've got our baskets here. Let me see who's got what. Okay. Sam's got also a basket with slips of paper that are our prayer requests. So if you're going through a challenge and would like to have a little extra prayer support, just jot your name down on there and what it is that you'd like for us to pray for. And we will be doing that automatically. If you'd like a little more prayer support and would like to talk to a practitioner or a minister, that can be arranged as well. So just raise your hand if you're looking for the prayer requests. And then Darren's got the basket for our donations. And so I'm going to invite you to share, to say this affirmation that's up here along with me as you give. And maybe just hold it into your heart and feel that. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. So it is. Do y'all really feel that? Know that you are blessed and that you are a blessing. And we also have another way to give. It's not listed on here, but You can give if you don't have cash or you didn't bring a check or something. You can give at our giving kiosk using your card. And also, does not look like it's in here. I don't know. Is that the phone number? It's not in here. Text to Tithe. So maybe somebody can yell it out for me. Text to Tithe is once you set this number up in your telephone. There it is. Fabulous. Thank you. Once you set that number up with your bank account, you can just put the amount of money that you want to send the center, and you put that in the text message and you send it. So it's 352-320-5110, or you can go to CSL Ocala/donate. That way via PayPal. And the stars, what does that say? Facebook viewers can now tap the stars icon next to comments to buy and donate stars. Oh, awesome. That's new. Wonderful. Okay, are we ready? We'll go ahead and say a little prayer on these gifts that have been given. So we just take a moment to turn within. I give thanks for words, for the wisdom, for the love that has been shared here this morning. And I just know and affirm that each one of us walks out of here a little bit better, a little bit wiser, and making our commitments to expand our spiritual growth and practice. So I give thanks for this moment that we have shared, for the wisdom that comes from this, for the prayer requests, for knowing that the answer to each and every prayer already exists in the mind of spirit, and I affirm that it is manifesting for the highest and best of everyone involved in whatever situation we're able to be in. I give thanks for the generosity of people who give to the center, giving of their time, giving of their talents, giving of their financial treasure, and I just know that that giving blesses each and every one who gives them. Those blessings return, pressed down and multiplied for each. My affirm is that as we go into our respective life experience, that each one of us is a light for this world. So I release these words with joy and gratitude. Okay. So what's going on here? And thank you again, Caitlin. Thank you so much for your and for our music and just another wonderful time here at CSL Ocala. So, you know, there is an integration circle today at 1 o'clock right in here. We will be having a CPR class that's next weekend, right? At 2 o'clock Sunday. And that's for anybody who wants to know CPR. I mean, that's a wonderful thing to know. But if you're involved with the children here in any way, shape, or form, we love to have people that are ready in case something should happen. Don't remember, there may be a cost to that. Does anyone know offhand? Okay, if you want to do the training, it's probably free, but if you want to get the card, then you would pay for that. Let's see. Yes, so the foundations class, that's actually a mistake because I changed it up a little bit. Not knowing actually what the content of Galen's talk is going to be today, but next week we'll be doing a workshop on forgiveness. So it will be an opportunity for you all to remove some of those blocks, those energetic blocks that you may have with yourself or with another person that's preventing the flow and the fullness of your life. So we'll be together next week doing that. What this mentions, year-long Foundations of Science of Mind course. So what I've done is taken our foundations class, like the basic teachings of what we do here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala, stretched it out over a year. So every month is a different practice or principle of what we teach. And next month, I'm going to be talking about grace. And as we lead into that, we'll be having that workshop on forgiveness. So it'll be a little bit different setup than today. It'll probably be tables. It's more interactive. But you're going to be called to participate and be involved in it. And of course, you know, what we get out of it is really a function of what we put into it. Right? The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. So come ready to play next week. Oh, and by the way, at the end of the year, if you are interested and would like to get credit for the class, then you can pay the $45 registration fee. But do all the assignments, and they've all been posted online, so you know what to read and can do the exercises, do the homework. And at the end of the year, we'll have a great celebration. So that's second Sunday is a more traditional talk, more like we had today. The first Sunday, as I mentioned, is a workshop atmosphere. Third Sunday is circle conversations. So we take the topic and do a small overview, and then we break out into small groups, and you get an opportunity, again, to share from your perspective and to learn from other people. So it really opens up the understanding for everybody. There are some people who never miss a Circle Sunday, right? Raise your hand if you love Circle Sundays. Yeah, it's great fun. Some people walk in and say, yeah, not me. but those of you who do it know it's worth doing, right? It's a great time. Okay, and then this is the fifth Sunday. When there is a fifth Sunday, quarterly, yes, we have what's called the Prism Market. And this room will transform yet again. We'll have vendors of folks from our community, from within our spiritual community, from outside of the spiritual community. They come and they share their wares. If they have a service, they may offer that. If they have a product or something, they offer that. Do we have room for vendors for this next one? Okay, we can still use some vendors. So if you have something you'd like to share with the larger community, get in touch with this lady. Stand up, Pam, so we can see you. Okay, great. Yes, Pam Brown is the one organizing our Prism Market. And Tiffany, yes, Pam or Tiffany. Fabulous. That's Tiffany right there, and she's sweet. There's Tiffany right there. If you're interested in volunteering, again, of sharing your talents, there's Cole back there. Yes, Cole is our volunteer coordinator, and he would be glad to plug you in. There's so many things, so many ways that you can get involved here. If you love nature and the outdoors, you could be part of our, what are you calling it, the green team. I think what we could really use is some administrative help. That would be lovely. Cleaning, cleanups and things after service when we have some food. And it looks like we've got food back there. Wilma she is practicing back there. And Loretta brought us some cookies. So we've got homemade biscotti and shortbread and our Puerto Rican heritage, right? Yeah, we're having, yes, it's good. It's good. So check it out, y'all. Check it out. We're expanding our horizons in all kinds of ways, including the waistlines. Do we have any little? I know we have the one little one here. Do we have any other littles we want to bring up and do a blessing? Would y'all like to do that? He's off in the distance somewhere. All right. So how about we hold him in mind and hold ourselves, right? Our inner child. Okay, come on, honey. Come on. Hey. So here's what we do when we honor our inner child and we honor the children at the center, right? You kind of rub your hands together and we say this affirmation and we send each other this love and light, okay? So we say, we honor you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And so it is. And so it is. Yay! Awesome. Yeah. I think that's it. You got one more? Here you go, David.
Books for sale over here, and part of the proceeds for this book will go to support the center, and there's also Science of Mind magazines that are available in the bookstore. You can purchase them on the square, and I might need some help with the square in the bookstore if somebody else wants.
So yeah, the Science of Mind magazine is wonderful. It has affirmations for every day of the month. So this next one that he's talking about has affirmations for June and July. Great articles, great affirmations. It just, make it part of your spiritual practice. We've got all kinds of resources here for you. So anything else? Any other announcements? All right, with that, I'm going to invite you to say the prayer for protection as we close out. Make this your own here. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. And so it is. Have a fabulous, fabulous weekend. All right. That's a wrap. There's a wrap. There's food in the kitchen. There's a circle this